I'm Haley Taylor, and you're listening to The Rough Draft Diaries. It's quiet, very quiet on campus. It is the summertime, and I'm at the University of Toledo, visiting a professor in the psychology department.
Yeah, my name is Wes Bullock. I'm a clinical psychologist, where I'm about to start my 31st year this upcoming fall.
We're not here to talk about Wes's teaching position, although it is somewhat connected. Today, we're talking about Wes's involvement within the community, teaching mindfulness meditation, particularly to prison inmates.
Again, many people who've been lifelong residents of Toledo don't know that we have an enormous prison right here in Toledo, just on the other side of I-280, not far from the Veterans Glass City Bridge, is a very large prison, which had upwards of 1,000 men in it. It's an all-men prison.
Wes didn't start this prison outreach program. The Flowing Waters Sangha did, a local Buddhist community. But it's not super surprising that Wes found it because he was teaching and studying mindfulness meditation to a group of mentally ill patients, part of the Wellness Management and Recovery Program. They explore all avenues of recovery, including medicated and the holistic approach.
The thing that really has happened is that we now have the science to back up what the wisest individuals from every culture has known for thousands of years. Studies are coming out of the Harvard brain imaging labs showing that this mindfulness meditation technology leads to psychophysiological, physical, and neurophysiological changes that help explain the psychological benefits that we see people getting by engaging in these technologies and by practicing these technologies.
By technologies, he means the process or the act of meditation, which Wes explains to me as we're sitting in his office.
So even as we sit here right now, both of us have been breathing. But we probably haven't been paying attention to the fact that we're breathing. So a lot of the technology of mindfulness meditation is learning to pay attention and learning how to direct your attention, but on purpose in a way that's non-judgmental. And a simple way to do this is to start by following the breath. So we breathe in and we know that we're breathing in. Breathing out, we know that we're breathing out. Breathing in, we follow our in-breath from beginning to end. Breathing out, we follow our out-breath from beginning to end. And we notice the sensations as they arise and fall.
At this point in the interview, I ask Wes to describe the difference between a mental illness patient practicing meditation versus a prison inmate practicing meditation.
Well, my first answer to that question would be there is no difference. So the practice itself, the benefits of the practice are the same for you as they would be for somebody who's a murderer on death row.
But there's situations. I try to clarify myself by further explaining that I don't mean the individual is different, but their situations are different. So they must in some way approach the practice differently, simply because their surroundings differ. But Wes corrects me again.
Well, and I'm not trying to be cantankerous, but it can be a mistake to keep viewing individuals in other settings as being different or as reaping different kinds of benefits from it. The situations may be different, and so a few of the notes may sound different, but the song is the same. But I think I know what you're driving at, and I'll give you one example.
Wes begins a story about meeting the men at the Community Reentry Center. Inmates are still held at the facility, but it's less restrictive than the prison. Doors have alarms on them, but they're not locked. It's essentially a test for the inmates before they can re-enter the outside world.
And one of the men said he'd had a particularly bad day. He'd gotten into a big argument. All he could think about was running away. And he said, at one point I was standing in this gangway area, and he said, I thought to myself, I could just go through that door and I'd be out of here, which was true. But he said, I thought I could go outside of that door, but if I went outside that door right now, I might be free in my body, but I wouldn't be any freer in my mind. That until I have control over my feelings, I would still be trapped. I would still be a prisoner, be trapped in my own mind.
For Wes, and in a lesson I learned for myself, realizing the differences and similarities that each individual holds within these mindfulness meditation groups has truly made the difference in Wes's own practice and how he chooses to relate to others in the future.
There was not a single session that went by that the men wouldn't say to us, "Thank you so much for coming in. We learned so much from you. You're so supportive for us. It feels so good." And we, the individuals coming into the prison, were saying the same thing back. "Thanks so much for coming. We learned so much. You support our practice very much."
For now, I'm Haley Taylor, and thanks for listening to this episode of the Rough Draft Diaries.